From the 10th floor of the concrete building in Ukraine, all other buildings looked exactly the same. Endless rows of gray high-rises stretching into the horizon. In one of those buildings, behind the windows that mirrored hundreds of others, lived a little 7-year-old. That's me. While other kids played in the playground, I ended up living in the world of books. I didn't enjoy the grayness and occasional tree here and there. Instead, I devoured every piece of text I could find. It could be a detective book from my parents' shelf, maybe world classics borrowed from the neighbors, even product labels, literally anything I could find. That's how eventually I ended up with English books that were translated. In the 90s in Ukraine, it was really hard to get one, so we got them much later. And one of those books happened to be Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. At first, I didn't pay much attention to it, just one more book, read and forgot. But that's not what happened with this book. I ended up reading Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone exactly 82 times. It wasn't just joyful reading, it was preparation. Because obviously, when I turn 11, like every other wizard, I will receive my acceptance letter from Hogwarts, the magic school, and leave this world of grayness for a castle made of magic. My family surprisingly didn't fight this obsession. My mom made me a witch robe. My aunt would bring me chocolate frogs from her travels. And my dad, he seemed to be genuinely okay with that. My dedication never wavered. For 3 years, I solely believed that. Now, with just a couple weeks before my 11th birthday, I knew that the letter will arrive anytime. I could imagine it. From "We are pleased to announce," I could quote it all the way to the list of potion ingredients that I had to purchase. The envelope would be made of parchment with green ink on it, and my exact location at that point. I could visualize it, I was manifesting it, and I knew I will get it. I had no doubts. In the first days of April, it was a regular school day, morning. My mom was braiding my hair. I was, as always, slightly annoyed at that. And that's where I saw my dad with the corner of my eye. He was standing in the hallway, holding something in his hands. He turned to me and said, "Nata, you got a letter from Hogwarts?" The world has stopped for me. That's it. It happened. I got my letter. I will leave my Muggle parents, somehow figure out the rest and the logistics, and I would breathe in, breathe out. I unpaused the world, turned to my dad just a bit, my mom was still braiding my hair, and said, "Dad, can you please give me the letter?" That's when he approached, and I saw how his face is becoming this one big grin. "April's Fool, don't trust anyone." My heart sank. He lied. Later that morning, I actually came by the envelope that he was holding in his hands. It was painfully, ordinarily white. Not even a tea bag stain, no hint of effort. The letter never came. At the age of 12, I was still enchanted by the magic world. But this time, I had another magic spell in my arsenal: the dial-up internet. Those of you who can remember the magic sound of it would connect you to the online world. And I was very lucky that I had that access at home. One of the first things that I looked up, Hogwarts. That's when I discovered that there is such thing as an online Hogwarts, where hundreds of Harry Potter fans from all over the world gather on forums, in ICQ and chat, and create their stories together. The base would be the J.K. Rowling story, of course, but then with more imagination, it became something else. I promptly joined, and for the next 2 years, I pretty much lived in two worlds in parallel. In one world, I was regular student, I was excelling at school, proper daughter and all that. And then I also had this magical world, the world of internet and online Hogwarts. My evenings and weekends were spent there. In the offline world, I was just considered a nerdy girl. I would never even talk about Harry Potter or Hogwarts. God forbid, I watched enough Mean Girls to know that nerdy girls had it rough. But in the online world, I could be anyone. My imagination was what mattered. The more creative I was, the cooler I was. Moreover, in the online communities, I found my first friends. I learned how to trust. And I even made some pen pals from afar. We would send each other letters, occasionally tea stain the envelope, just for that bit of magic. Some of those people I met offline. July 2007 brought the last book publication by J.K. Rowling, and slowly this spell that has held me for so long started to lift. Soon after, I graduated Hogwarts, and in a way that was closing the chapter that shaped the majority of my childhood and early teenagehood. Years later, I found myself at a weathered brick wall. I passed through it to step into a cobblestone road. There were the magic stores and the prank shop and this huge white building, the Gringotts Wizards Bank, with a fire-breathing dragon on top of it. It was Universal Studios in Orlando, and even though it was my first visit, somehow it felt so familiar. It felt like home. I spent the whole day there, taking the Hogwarts Express, that's the magic train, walking around, absorbing this atmosphere. As the park was closing and the sunset was glistening on the windows, a theme park worker crossed the street to me. He said, "You seem to have happy tears in your eyes. It feels like you belong." I smiled and thanked him. Standing there, half a world away from my childhood bedroom, I thought back to the 7-year-old me. Back then, I couldn't speak English. I couldn't dream of traveling this far. And yet, there I was, that little girl from the concrete tower had discovered the truest form of magic, the power to create her own story. No acceptance letters needed.